Welcome back, everybody, to Niners Now. I'm your host, Brady Grustas, at Grustas Brady on X. You can follow me there. And the 49ers are back in the win column at 7-4 after a massive win against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 11. There were a few records set in Sunday's game, none of them by the 49ers, but they did get the win in Brock Purdy's homecoming game comfortably, winning 41-22. We're going to go over all the grades from this game: offense, defense, special teams, and then, of course, stick around until later in the show because we're going to take a look at the playoff picture in the NFC. But before we begin, go ahead and subscribe down below. Every subscription means a whole lot. We're getting real close to 500 subscribers. That would mean the world to me if we could hit that by December. So please, if you haven't, go ahead and subscribe. Leave a like, leave a comment, and let's get into it. So first, the story of the game was the penalties, for sure. The 49ers had one penalty for 15 yards, and the Cardinals had more penalties than the Niners had penalty yards. The Cardinals had, I believe, 17 penalties, most in Arizona Cardinals history. And listen, some of them were a little iffy, right? There were a few holding calls where the offensive line would just do a simple swipe move, and that was called for a holding. Definitely a little bit ticky-tack, right? But when you've got 17 penalties, you can't really blame the refs because, sure, some of them are a little bit iffy, but you had 17 penalties. That is ridiculous. That's just bad coaching, straight up. It was a disaster. And the penalties were genuinely the number one reason that the Cardinals were not even competitive in this game. Fun fact, the 49ers' only penalty came after Renardo Green got into a fight with Trey McBride. And guess what happened after that penalty? He was benched. Only for a brief time. He did come back in later in the game. But he was taken out of the game for committing one penalty. The Cardinals, as a team, committed 17, and I didn't notice anyone get benched because of their penalties. Clearly two different approaches when it comes to penalties from these two coaching staffs. Also, we mentioned records. Jacoby Brissett set an NFL record with 47 completions on 57 attempts. 47 completions is the most in a game in NFL history. Now, listen, there were a lot of checkdowns. It wasn't exactly a Drew Brees-like performance out there for Brissett, but you know what? Good for him. If that's the one positive thing that comes out of this game for Arizona, then so be it. Right, Jacoby Brissett writes his name in the NFL history books. What a career he's made for himself, huh? Was the backup to the backup behind both Jimmy Garoppolo and Tom Brady in New England. Spent some time with the Colts. Spent some time with, I think, the Dolphins, the Browns. I couldn't tell you Jacoby Brissett's career path. But for a journeyman quarterback to complete 47 passes in a game, all credit to him. He was fighting today to make anything happen for the Arizona offense, and it couldn't quite do it. Also, not a record, but a milestone for sure. George Kittle became the third player in 49ers history with both 500 catches and 50 receiving touchdowns. The only two guys to do that other than Kittle in the history of the 49ers, Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. So, you know what? Pretty good company for George Kittle. Easily the best tight end in the history of the 49ers and one of the best tight ends in the history of the NFL, in my opinion. Now, let's get into the grades, all right? We're going to start off with the offense, and this one's easy, right? This is an A. 49ers offense puts up 41 points, most all season long, right? This was their highest scoring game of the year. Brock Purdy's finally back healthy. Makes sense that they got an A, right? Bad defense by the Cardinals, great offense by the 49ers. The stars really showed up. Purdy went 19 for 26, only 200 yards, but 3 touchdowns. He was efficient, he was on time, and he was playing winning football. He wasn't forcing too many passes. He had some throwaways in opportune moments. He wasn't trying too hard to rely on the legs. There was no hero ball in this game. It was a really well-managed game from Brock Purdy. Had 3 touchdowns, and it became very clear why he is the starting quarterback of this football team. I mean, like we've been saying on this show, there's just a different level of dynamic offense when he's in there compared to Mac Jones. In particular, the deep ball. You saw that beautiful touchdown, the first one to George Kittle, drops it right in the bucket, perfect throw. Brock just has a command of the offense and a command of the deep ball that Mac Jones doesn't quite have. So glad that Brock is back and so glad that he performed well in this one. Speaking of George Kittle, he had 6 catches for 67 yards and 2 touchdowns. Already getting back into that groove with Purdy. Kittle and Purdy have awesome chemistry, and I cannot wait to see that continue. McCaffrey, 18 touches, 121 total yards, 3 total scores, continuing both his Offensive Player of the Year campaign and his Comeback Player of the Year campaign. Now, I think, unfortunately, the Offensive Player of the Year will probably go to either Jonathan Taylor or Jackson Smith-Njigba, but McCaffrey certainly deserves to be in that conversation because he's been unbelievable this year. If he can get to 2,000 receiving yards, 2,000 rushing yards, I think he's probably got 1,000 receiving yards, 1,000 rushing yards. He's probably got a chance, but unless he can do that, I think he's probably not getting the Offensive Player of the Year award. I certainly hope he's in the running for Comeback Player of the Year. I don't really know how they announced that award, but he was injured all last year, and this was certainly a comeback season for him. A big reason for McCaffrey's success in Sunday's game, especially, was the blocking. The blocking was really good in this game. There were a few key misses by Colton McKivitz, right? But I thought the run game was dominant. The pass blocking was really, really good. You know, it's wild, going back to the run blocking, it's wild that the team as a whole didn't even crack 100 rushing yards because they were running really well. Felt like nearly every run, the offensive line was getting an insane amount of push. McCaffrey was 6.2 yards per carry on the day. That's his best average all season long. Brian Robinson, not too bad either, not super efficient, but 8 rushes in there, 24 yards. And of course, the offense wasn't perfect, right? Ricky Pearsall, only 1 catch, 0 yards. Brock had 2 throws that I didn't especially love. Colton McKivitz was torched a couple of times, only twice, but, a pair of times in pass protection. But the offense needs to carry in order to win games. We've been saying that for a couple weeks now, and they certainly did in this game. The offense was borderline unstoppable in this one. Now, let's talk about the special teams and the defense grades. We'll go to special teams first. B+ for special teams. Nice little bounce back game, but certainly not perfect, right? This grade is heavily weighted by the Sky Moore 98-yard opening kickoff return. That was the largest return of any kind for the 49ers since 2011. Ted Ginn Jr. had an 102-yard return, and it's crazy that a 98-yard return was not a touchdown. But regardless, great play by Sky Moore. Even at the very end when he's clearly out of gas, he's diving for the pylon. All due respect. Love the play for Sky Moore. And I'll be honest, this one play made the trade worth it. A 6th for a 7th swap for this one play, that's worth it. So congratulations, John Lynch. Your trade has officially paid off. And it was clear to anyone paying attention to special teams the past couple of weeks that a big return was coming. The team was getting really close to breaking one. I thought it was going to be Brian Robinson, but it was Sky Moore. He's got a little bit more speed, so it does make sense that he was able to break a big return in this one. There were a lot of weeks where they were pretty close to breaking a long one, and I'm glad they finally did. I'm hoping to see more returns like this in the future. Hopefully we don't have to wait another 14 years to get a return like this one. So yeah, shout out to Sky Moore. Shout out to the kickoff team. Shout out to the onside kick team. Couple of recoveries by the hands team. I think Juszczyk had the first one, and I believe Garendo had the second one. That's a play that a lot of teams can take for granted. 49ers executed on both of those attempts, so great job from them. And then Eddie Pinheiro, we got to talk about it. Roller coaster day for Eddie P. 2 extra points made, but 1 extra point was blocked, and 1 extra point was missed straight up. That's not good enough. It didn't really matter today, but it will matter down the line if that continues. And the 49ers are playing better and better opponents as the year goes along. However, 3 for 3 on field goals. Nice. Eddie Pinheiro still perfect. Perfect from his field goal attempts. Certainly not perfect from his extra points, but perfect from his field goal attempts, which I guess is the more important thing, right? Now, unfortunately, he suffered a hamstring injury. Not nice, right? I'm really hoping that Eddie Pinheiro is okay because losing him would be a real issue. We'd be right back into kicker purgatory, if you will. And, there's some free agents available, but none who I feel better about than Eddie Pinheiro. So hoping that Eddie's okay. Hopefully he'll be able to be back next week. 49ers will have an extra day considering they play on Monday night next week, and hopefully Eddie's able to play in that one because it's a revenge game because they'll be playing Eddie Pinheiro's Carolina Panthers. Now let's talk about the defense. Enough special teams talk. Defense, I think clearly the worst unit of the day, but I'm still going to give them a B. They played a lot of bend, don't break defense, which is fine. If you don't really have the guys and you don't really have the talent to match up with most offenses, then bend, don't break is appropriate. I'm fine with it. Allow as many yards as you need, as long as you're not allowing a lot of points, right? And it was 35-10 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the defense did. The game was over at the end of the third quarter there. So anything that happened in fourth quarter, it's garbage time, right? Yes, they allowed 47 completions for 400 million yards or whatever it was, right? But the defense was good on Sunday. Not great. There was no pressure at all. Again, that's just kind of what this team is now. They're just kind of out of pass rushers. But it's a good team. It's a good defense, right? They played well on Sunday, I thought. They forced 3 turnovers, which was pretty cool. 2 interceptions, one by Malik Mustafa, one by Diamador Lenore. I didn't even look up when the last time the 49ers had a 2-interception game was, probably a long time ago. And then to boot, Upton Stout forces a fumble on the goal line. That was an awesome play. He's now the second rookie to force a fumble on the goal line this season. So shout out to Upton Stout. He's really struggled in coverage, but it's clear why he's on the field. And if he continues to make plays like that, then hopefully that coverage will come along because I think he could be a really good player if he starts to figure it out. Not to mention, this defense was playing without Tatum Bethune for most of this game. Suffered an ankle injury. Both Bethune and Curtis Robinson got hurt. So the 49ers were without for a brief time, they were without their starting Mike linebacker, Fred Warner, their backup Mike linebacker, Tatum Bethune, and their third string Mike linebacker, Curtis Robinson. Now, luckily, Robinson was able to come back into the game a little bit later and keep playing. Hopefully, Robinson's all right because this Bethune injury sounds like it could be a multi-week thing for sure. And I thought Curtis Robinson honestly played pretty well at the mic. He isn't quite the hitter that Tatum Bethune is, but I think he's a little bit more under control of his body. So I'm interested to see if Curtis Robinson has to play much for this team. He was really good in the preseason the last 2 years, and I'm excited that he's getting the chance to play. Now, I'm not excited that these are the circumstances in which he gets the chance to play, but, rooting for Curtis Robinson. Hopefully he balls out the next couple weeks if he is forced to play Mike linebacker. Now, here's the bad news. The backups got torched in the fourth quarter. A couple of key guys came out just to save from injury. A lot of rookies got some run. And, in garbage time, I hate watching garbage time defense because I know none of it matters. But every time they allow a big completion or a touchdown or something, my heart just kind of drops a little bit and I get a little nervous every single time. Even this happened in the Giants game too. I hate watching garbage time defense. I can't do it. But I have to for this channel, right? But I will say rookies had some nice plays. Stout had the fumble on the goal line. Marquise Siegel had a beautiful play. It was perfect coverage on Trey McBride to prevent a touchdown. Got his hand in there against one of the best tight ends in the NFL and broke up a pass that clearly would have been a touchdown. Really nice play for Siegel there. And then Nick Martin blew up a 2-point conversion to stop the Cardinals on the goal line. Luke Gifford got in there early, was able to slow the running back down, couldn't quite make the tackle. Martin comes in, lays the boom, and officially ends the play. Kind of saved Gifford's butt, if you know what I mean, because Gifford made a nice play to kind of blow up the play in the first place, but he did let the runner go. Like he didn't complete the tackle, so thank goodness Nick Martin was there to clean up. So that is the game recap. What did you guys think of the Arizona Cardinals game? Let me know down below in the comments if you liked watching it, if you were stressed like I was at all in garbage time. Leave a comment down below. Maybe you'll be featured in the comment section segment next time I do that. Will probably be next video. Because today, I'm going to go over the NFC playoff picture. As of my time recording this, at the end of week 11, the 49ers are the 7th seed in the NFC. The Lions and the Panthers are the 8 and 9 seeds on the outside looking in. And I think basically the wild card race is coming down to 6 teams, at least at this point, right? We'll see if any of these teams drop out. But the Niners, Seahawks, Lions, Bears, Packers, and Panthers are the wild card contenders at this point. One of those NFC North teams is going to win their division, so one of them will jump up into one of those top 4 seeds. But out of those 6 teams, 2 of them are going to miss the playoffs, right? And it's fortunate for the 49ers because they will have the opportunity to win their way in, right? They play Carolina, they play the Bears, and they play the Seahawks still this year, right? Winning those games in particular will go a long way for playoff seeding. Those games are really the ones you have to circle. Those are the most crucial games on the schedule, bar none. None of those games are going to be particularly easy, right? Carolina, 6-5. I think they're worse than their record, but they keep finding ways to win, right? They've got a bad defense. They've got a really exciting offense. They've got some good young pieces. And if you're not careful, if you're not on your game, Carolina can beat you. Just ask the Green Bay Packers. Also, the Bears just keep finding ways to win, right? We talk about teams who find ways to win and teams who find ways to lose. The Cardinals are a team who finds ways to lose, right? They found a new way by setting the franchise penalties record. But the Panthers and Bears are teams who find ways to win. They find ways to win despite talent deficiencies, despite coaching deficiencies, despite execution deficiencies. The Bears did not play great against the Minnesota Vikings, and they still won. They're currently the 3 seed leading the NFC North right now, so that Bears game is going to be massive. I believe that one's in San Francisco as well. And then the Seahawks, right? The Seahawks, week 18. I've got no idea if the Seahawks will be leading the West by that point. They just suffered a loss to the LA Rams, so I kind of doubt it. Will we get late season pumpkin Sam Darnold, or will we get a motivated Seattle team who's really looking to secure a spot in the playoffs? Kind of early to say, right? That's literally the last game of the regular season. Hopefully not the last game of the entire season for the 49ers. But one good thing is all 3 of those NFC games are on Levi's Stadium turf, I believe. I believe they're all at home. They are. All of those games are at home, which is going to be massive for San Francisco. You know, if you look around the league, the Niners play the Panthers next week on Monday Night Football. The Packers play the Lions the week after, and then the Packers play the Bears the week after that. Those are 3 huge NFC playoff matchups in a row. So if you're looking for some games to watch that are non-49ers games, pay attention to the NFC North because those teams are going to be competing with the 49ers heavily for these playoff spots. I'm pretty confident in the 49ers. They're 4-1 in the division so far this year. They swept their divisional road games, which is something that's happened quite often under Kyle Shanahan. Happened 3 of the last 4 years, if you include this one. And they've still got 2 more chances to win. They've got 2 more divisional home games. Do they? No, they don't. They have 1 more divisional home game, against the Seahawks. They'll either go 5-1 in the division or 4-2. That's very good. Also, they're 7-2 in the NFC, right? Against NFC opponents, they've only lost to the Buccaneers and to the Rams, who are 2 of the best teams in the NFC this year. So if they're able to beat some of these fringe teams like the Bears and the Panthers, I think that would go a long way for their playoff seeding as well. And then, of course, they play the Browns and Titans, neither of whom are very good. Shedeur Sanders had to come into this game on Sunday. He didn't look great. Dylan Gabriel might be hurt by the time the 49ers travel to Cleveland. Titans are not very good, slated for another number 1 overall pick this year. I think 10 wins is probably necessary for San Francisco, and 11 wins really makes you feel safe. about making the playoffs. Now, if you remember, all the way back at the beginning of the year, my prediction was 11-6 and a wild card berth for the 49ers. I thought the Rams were going to win the division. I thought they were going to sweep the 49ers. They did not sweep the 49ers, of course, but they do look to be in position to win the NFC West, and the 49ers look like they could certainly snag a wild card spot at either 10-7 or 11-6. But what do you think? Do you think the 49ers will make the playoffs? Do you think they'll win 10 games, 11 games, less? Do you think they'll win 8 games? And how are you feeling after Brock Purdy's triumphant return to Arizona? Let me know down below. And of course, let me know if you enjoyed this episode. Leave a comment, leave a like, and let me know if there's any topics that you'd like to see me cover. Thank you all for watching, and subscribe for 49ers videos 5 days a week. I'm Brady Grustas at Grustas Brady on X. This has been Niners Now, and I'll see you tomorrow.